Hello and welcome to Pointer. Previously, we looked at a reactive chart, and let me see if I can find that. Reactive chart, my silly. Okay, open project. AA, my silly chart. Select. And you can see here's the silly chart. And one of the problems that we noted was that, okay, when I move this around, this guide, the arrow doesn't follow it. It's not attached to the objects. So what I want to do next is I want to be able to attach the arrows to the objects. For that, we're going to look at a simpler version of the chart. And that is, I'm going to look at a project called Auto Arrow. And let's select it. In this case, the objects that we're looking at are colored circles, and the arrows are just straight lines. So it's definitely much simpler, but it should illustrate my point. My point being that, okay, if I move this, CXY, if I move this, it moves. That's really nice. If I want to connect an arrow, say from here to here, what I'm going to do is, and you'll have to take my word for it because I can't show you, but I'm going to press the letter A and click, first press the letter A and click here, and then press the letter B and click here, and that sets an arrow from here to here. Okay, what just went on? Well, if you look up here, we have what's called links. Maybe we should have called it arrows, but because it is basically telling the arrows, and it's giving the ID of the from circle and the ID of the to circle, and the matrix or the points here are nothing. They're just ignore them. So if I want to have another arrow going to here, I press A again, and then I press, let's say, B, and I have an arrow going there. And what I did is I added another row. Okay, so this and now these guys are going to track. If I move this, it tracks. If I'm in matrix mode and I move it, it still tracks. Okay, so how did we do this? That's actually the interesting part. Well, first we have something called arrow, which goes from point 1 to point 2. It's has a radius of 50, and all I'm doing is I'm just saying, okay, well, let's take the point 1 and the point 2, let's space them out by 50 units and start up here and end here. So we back off, and that's what the X1 and X2 do. And then we just do a line, and then we have an arrowhead at the end. Okay, and that is my arrow compound. Okay, what about this? Well, these are the arrow lengths, and what I do is I do a P map across all the arrows, the arrows being ARRS, this data frame, or I should say tibble, using the arrow compound as my iteration. And of course I'm doing the circles. I'm just doing a P map over all the circles. So how do these links get formed? Well, that's the tricky part. We go to the attribute preprocessor and previously we did point preprocessor. Now we're doing attribute preprocessor, and I'm going to do an edit, and there's a from to linking. What it does is it says, okay, on a new row, I'm going to create get the value. Well, I don't really care what the value is. I am going to take and assign a random sequence of letters to the value, and I'm going to set that attribute as value. So on a new row, every time I get a new row, I'm just using this script to basically generate an ID. On change row, I'm going to get the attribute value. I'm going to check the key code. If I have a key code and I get the last row, if the key code was 65 or A, I set the from ID and append it to the last row. If the key code is B, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set that value to the to ID and replace the last row, and then set the links in the tib to be this tibble, and that otherwise do nothing. So again, it's a little bit of an effort to do this, but once it's done, and you can use this forever. So just to show you, okay, again, the preprocessor that I'm using is from to linking for the ID. You can see that, okay, I can choose the preprocessor from to linking or none. In this case, none, it won't do anything. I turn it off, that is, and here it's turned on. And that's pretty much it. Again, okay, if I'm going to go and create a new point, let's say I create one here, and I decide, okay, I want to change the fill, colorable. Let's make it, and I want to have an arrow going from here to here. Then I push the keystroke, hit ID, push the keystroke A, and then B, and it's done. And now if I move this around, it's going to track. And that's it. So there are 2 points to be made for the preprocessor. And again, that is edit. Two points for the preprocessor, and that is that, okay, we create a random ID on a new row, and we on a change row, we either add a new row with 65 and we append it, or we replace the last value with this with the current value, and the value here is the ID. So when we get the attribute value, that's actually getting the ID. So that's it. And I hope you enjoyed that, and I think that is enough for today. Have a nice day, and see you soon.